Okay, everybody. So, yesterday we talked a little bit about summary and reaction papers, but that's only one type of summarizing. This one that we're going to talk about today is a summary and analysis paper. So the difference is that when you're reacting to something, you're sort of just giving your visceral impressions, meaning like, how does this hit you? You know, what things do you like, do you not like? It's much more focused on you, the reader, and how you are interacting with the text. All right, summary and analysis is more you coming about it not in the first person, but kind of in the third person. So you're kind of representing any or all students out there. So you want to avoid using I, me, we, you, that kind of language, and instead tend to refer to yourself as like the generic student. Not literally, but you could say some or one to represent yourself, when in reality you're representing a lot of different people that might come across this. So avoid first person, second person kind of language in these. But secondly, the summary in this one is going to be a little bit shorter. So in the summary and reaction, you wanted a whole lot of summary. And then a little bit less on the reaction. Today we want less on the summary and more on your analysis as a reader. So, analysis just means, why do you think certain choices are going to be made? What interpretation can you take away after reading this for what exactly the purpose of the author is in deciding to do certain things? And we'll get to that in a minute. So when it comes to summary, your goal is to identify relatively quickly the plot. So let's pick I don't know, I'm trying to think of a movie that everybody's seen. Let's take The Lion King. I think most people have seen or are familiar with The Lion King. So the plot of The Lion King, if you were going to describe it, it's basically Shakespeare's Hamlet, but I'm not going to go into that right now. So the plot is young baby lion is born. His mom is like the queen, of the African grasslands. His dad, Mufasa, is like the king. King has a really jealous brother named Scar, bad guy, whatever. There's an accident that's not really an accident. His uncle kills his dad. He thinks he's about to get killed too, so he runs away, finds, two cool little friends, a meerkat and a warthog, Timon and Pumbaa, I think. And then he grows up, not really being around other lions. Eventually, they convince him to kind of go home. Scar has all these henchmen. Simba, the little baby that's now an adult, has a little girlfriend. Simba defeats Scar to avenge his dad, and then he becomes the king of the lions, blah, 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 happy ending. So that's just the plot. Basically, this kid's uncle kills his dad, kid runs away, kid comes back when he's big and strong, beats his uncle, then he avenges his dad, and he becomes king. The end. So a plot doesn't have to be any more in-depth than that. Pretty much always with this, you don't have to worry about spoilers. I know we live in a society where, no spoilers, but in this type of situation, assume that if your teacher is your audience or even your classmates, that they're reading or have read or have watched or have listened to the same thing you have. So don't be scared of the spoilers. If you don't include like what happens in the end or the climax of the story in your plot and things like that, then you're kind of leaving the door open for the professor to maybe think that you didn't read the whole thing, or that you went on to, Spark Notes or Pink Monkey or, I can't even remember the old one, Cliff's Notes. So don't be scared to talk about the whole story. You don't have to save the ending for anyone. This isn't, one of those things where you don't want to give away the big reveal. You need to prove that you've read the whole thing, or that you've watched the whole thing, or that you listened to the whole thing. The next thing you want to focus on are themes. So in The Lion King, obviously, growing up, life is cruel, revenge, things like that, love. So those are our types of themes. If you were talking about like the John Wick movies, you would talk about revenge and anger and justice and action and, comeuppance, or you get what you deserve kind of a thing. The setting, where does it take place? Well, The Lion King takes place in Africa, in the savannah, the grasslands. Who are the characters? Characters are Mufasa, the dad who dies, Simba, his son, who's just a little baby, Simba's little girlfriend, I think her name's Nala. Then you have Timon and Pumbaa, the meerkat and the warthog. Those are Simba's best friends. You've got Scar, the uncle, the bad guy. He's got like little henchmen that are jackals or hyenas. I can't remember what their names are. And I can't remember what Simba's mom is named or anything like that. But those are the main characters. Similar to if you were doing like Justice League, it would be Superman, The Flash, Batman, Aquaman. I always forget the robotic looking dude, or the Avengers, whatever. You just go through. So when you're summarizing, you want to make sure you hit plot, theme, setting, and characters. So plot is the basic story. Theme are what are the elements you see kind of coming back again and again and again. You may even say like cliche, like if it's a romantic comedy, or then, generally speaking, the two people find each other in the end. That's a theme. If it's, a romantic movie, or again, apologies for this, but if it's what stereotypically may be called a chick flick, or, a romantic film that isn't necessarily something that most men are going to gravitate to, then, it has a lot of crying and it has a lot of people dying and things like that in it. So those are different types of themes. The setting, where does the story take place? The main characters. So a lot of people would ask, okay, so do you write the summary and then do you write the analysis? And sort of. But you can also do it a different way. You can put your analysis in with your summary. So talk about what's happening in a particular scene or in the story at a particular point. And then you can also talk about why that might be happening. Why did the author or the director or the musician choose to put that element in there? So you don't have to do them separately. You can go through the story in one piece, have one column for the plot, have one column for the analysis, or simply summarize and analyze at the same time. Have your summary bit, and then have your analysis bit, and then have some more summary, and then have some more analysis. That's another way to do it. So when we take a look at the analysis here, we've got two main questions. Why is the creator of whatever it is, whether a writer, director, actor, musician, spoken word, podcaster, whatever it might be, why are they making some of these choices? Like, for example, with a podcast that I listen to, it's about Southern horror stories. It's called Southern Gothic. And my wife and I always used to laugh at the very beginning because they put this echo filter like on the mic. So almost anything they said would sound kind of spooky, but they did it too much. And so it really ended up bringing the quality down, because you would get this echo effect on these random words that made it sound like they were supposed to be important, but it was just the effect being used incorrectly. Like, for example, if you had something like, and she was missing her head. But what it was doing is the host would just be talking, and it's like, he put his key in the ignition. And so it sounded silly, and it took away from the actual flavor of what the podcaster and his producer were going for. Eventually, after about a dozen or so episodes, they stopped doing that. Apparently enough people had emailed in that they realized people weren't enjoying it and it didn't sound right. So that's one reason that you want to look for some of these choices. Like, for example, one that was very, very controversial, really, recently, and I don't know why. I haven't seen the film yet, but it looks like it's very well done. But a lot of you might remember there was a choice made, and I don't know whether this was based on the actor, which I'm sure it was, that this actor was just deemed to be the best person for the part, but the new character playing the live action Ariel in The Little Mermaid is black. In the cartoon, she's white. And a lot of people had a problem with that for some reason. I don't really understand it, but they were convinced that there was some type of ulterior motive there. I don't want to get into the political reasons why people may have thought that. I'm sure they're evident to you if you know what I'm talking about. But, was it a choice to change the race of that character on purpose? I tend to think not. I tend to think that they just really, really liked this actor and thought she'd be the best person to play Ariel. So, I don't know. But even down to things like clothing that different characters wear. Why does Batman's suit change sometimes? Why does a character all of a sudden get their hair cut in a really radically different way? Why do they choose to have these two characters date or fall in love when it seems like they're more compatible with somebody else? All of those are choices that, at some point you can question and see if there's a reasoning within the movie, the book, the short story, the poem, the song, the podcast, whatever, as to why they would make that choice. So when you're analyzing, think about why the author may have made some of these choices. And what is the author's purpose? There are many purposes that you can go to, but largely to entertain, to inform, or to persuade someone about something are the three main reasons for what the author's purpose is. So it may be that there is a distinct agenda. Like, for example, if you've ever seen the movie The Wizard of Oz, it was originally a book, and the yellow brick road wasn't yellow, it was silver, because there was a time period where a group of people wanted the U.S. to not invest in gold, as we always have traditionally done, but they wanted to have the government invest in silver. So following the silver brick road was meant as a message to help people understand that we needed to get off the gold standard. It didn't work, but that was a specific purpose and a specific choice that the original author, Frank L. Baum, or L. Frank Baum, I can never remember, chose with the Wonderful Wizard of Oz, which was the name of the book. You also have authors that choose to try and persuade people of things. Like, there was a journalist named Upton Sinclair, who at the turn of the last century wrote a book called The Jungle, which was about the disgusting nature of meat processing and meat packing in the lower south side of Chicago, where it effectively, because he wrote it with such a persuasive mindset, made the government actually go in, investigate, and change the rules for how people could safely handle things like meat in an effort to not get people sick. So remember, why are authors making certain choices, and what is the author's purpose behind this? Are they just trying to entertain you? Are they trying to inform you about something or teach you something? Are they trying to persuade you? Are they trying to get you to change your way of thinking about something, or give you a perspective about something that you had never considered before? So that's summary and analysis. Remember, in this particular type of summary, the summary itself is going to be much shorter than the analysis. It's more important what you think about what the author is doing and explaining how and why you think they achieved that, than actually telling us specifically what this is about through plot, theme, setting, and characters. And remember, don't be scared of spoilers. In this particular setting, it's perfectly fine, and it shows that you actually read, watched, or listened to the entire thing, whatever it might be. All right, everybody. I will see you in the next video. You have a wonderful day.